and welcome to another episode of Faith Declarations. I hope you have been enjoying and speaking and declaring all of these wonderful armor of God faith declarations. And we have a faith declaration combo for you for this week. So, what is this week's faith declaration combo?
Okay, it's a little long, so just gonna
Bear with us.
bear with us. Every day I put on the whole armor of God, the belt of truth to strengthen me, the breastplate of righteousness to guard my heart, and I'm standing on my feet, alert and ready with the gospel of peace.
Yes. So obviously, if you've been following us for the last 3 weeks, we have been honing in on the armor of God, and it is a crucial part with your walk with God. And it is so important that you know what the armor is and what it's there for, what it's used for. And we are going to continue to expand on this pretty much all of next month, or this month I should say, as well. Sneak peek. But it's so important. And also, I know we pretty much put the last 3 declarations together in one, but it's important because when you speak it, declare it, proclaim it, you do it over and over and over and over and over again, it gets in your spirit and helps to build your faith. And this whole, thing that we're doing with faith declaration, it is meant to build your faith, bring out truth out of the word of God, put it in a declaration form, and for you to speak it, declare and proclaim it, and get it in your spirit. Because we can't fight the good fight of faith without knowing the truth.
Exactly.
Without having the belt of truth on, or knowing that we can stand on the gospel of peace. And or knowing that we have the breastplate of righteousness that we can put on that protects the number one thing that God says to protect.
That's right.
The heart. It's so important that you understand that you have to put this on. And obviously it definitely related to that time, because they could easily think of the Roman soldiers and understand it.
Right.
Because that was something that basically the revelation came from, and they were able to understand the armor. That's and right. How a Roman soldier pretty much dressed. And God always does that. God always takes something that we understand or that we're interested in, and he shows himself in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, look at this. Look at this. You're interested in this? Look at this. Look at this beauty and intertwined thing that has been sitting there waiting for you to discover. And it's so interesting, the revelations that we get in certain areas, but it always takes us diving in, digging in.
That's right. Yeah.
And, working on it and getting knowledge of the word of God or a subject. And then God's like, listen, you're smart in that subject. Now let me show you how my fingerprint is on that.
Exactly.
How my footprint is on that, and how intertwined that is, and how it correlates right back to the word of God.
Exactly.
It's so amazing.
I'm going to read, just kind of saw this here. We haven't read this yet. It's verse 13 out of Ephesians 6 out of the Amplified Classic. It says, therefore, put on God's complete armor, that you may be able to resist and stand your ground on the evil day of danger, and having done all the crisis demands, to stand firmly in your place. So this is one of the big reasons why we are having that armor to wear. Jesus said, occupy until I come back.
Yeah.
That's a military term, and that usually means you got your ground, hold it and advance. Yeah. Keep the ground, hold it and advance. This is what we're doing. So he's saying, right here, that you may be able to resist and stand your ground on the evil day of danger. Right? That's what he's saying. And having done everything that the crisis demands, whatever that crisis is, to stand firmly in your place. In other words, you're not backing off. You're not giving Satan anything. You're not giving him, whatever lies he's saying, like you're not going to make it. You're not, this is the end of everything. You're going to lose all. Whatever lies he's throwing at you in that crisis, you give him that word. You stand your ground. You're not giving way. You know the truth. You know what God says about you. You know what God says about your situation. You know that God is your source and he's your answer. And this is, I think it's Paul who says this twice. He starts in verse 11, tells us to put on the whole armor. In verse 12, he tells us why, who we're wrestling against, right? And then 13, therefore, put on God's complete armor. He tells us again. So this is really important that we remember this, that we don't give Satan ground back. Because once you find out who you are, that you are a child of the Most High God, and you find out that you have an enemy, and you had an enemy your whole life, and he took things from you, and you realize, I can get all of this back because God has promised me this. And Jesus said, speak to the mountain, speak to the obstacle, speak to that situation, what God says about it, right? All things are possible. Jesus said this, only believe, all things are possible. So he's getting us to think about things in a different way, right? And he went and he asked that blind man, what do you want from me, right? What can I do for you? Do you think Jesus didn't know? Of course he knew. That blind man needed to make a faith declaration. And he said it, I want to see. That's what he said.
And the other thing too is, in another aspect, it says, ask and ye shall receive. Right. So he also, in another aspect, wanted him to ask.
That's right.
Like he basically, what do you want? What do you want me to do?
Right.
I want you to tell me what you want me to do. Right. I want you to ask me.
Right. Right.
I'm not going to give it to you until you ask me.
Right.
And then when you ask, you will receive.
True. Yeah. But he did that with every single person that I can think of, except the woman with the issue of blood.
But you know what? The other thing too is it took faith for him to actually say it.
Exactly.
He had to believe,
right,
that this wasn't,
that Jesus could actually be the one
be the one to heal him.
Right.
So you're still using every single thing, every single healing always involved faith. It always involved an action
Jesus,
from the other person.
He came with the obvious. What do you want from me? What can I do for you? He said that. The woman with the issue of blood is the only one that I can think of who went to him, did her own in, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I can be made whole, right? She gave another dimension to faith that totally lines up with what Jesus had already said, speaking to the mountain, speaking to the obstacle. We have an authority and ability to change our circumstances, because Jesus said that all power has been given unto me. Now you go unto the world, you preach the gospel, you lay hands on the sick, you tell those that are captive, they don't have to be captive anymore, right? You preach the acceptable year of the Lord. He was giving that not to just the 12 and the 70, but to all who would believe. When he prayed in John, I think 17, he prayed for his apostles, but he said, and for every other one that's coming after them. That's you and me. He prayed for all of us. And I love to read that because it just reminds me of Jesus, as like his father, like God, thinks way ahead. He's out in the future somewhere thinking about things that we've yet to even encounter. And that's vision for you. That's I see myself. See yourself putting on the armor. See it happening. See you're, you know, we haven't gone through all of it yet, so we're only partially with the armor.
Stay tuned, we'll get to
But all the
it.
things that you know, seeing it, that belt, right? Brings, it says you're gonna, it strengthens me and I stand in triumph.
Mhm.
That's gonna give me the ability and the whole armor to
Mhm.
stand against the strategies of Satan. That's really important that we can stand against him, right? That breastplate of righteousness protects and guards the heart,
Yep.
which is real vitally important. Standing on your feet with the gospel of peace, ready and alert to face the enemy. All of those, picture yourself with that. Picture yourself knowing what to say and do and see yourself overcoming.
Mhm.
These weapons are the weapons of our warfare. This is what we overcome the enemy with.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, very, very well said. And we will continue to expand this coming month with the armor of God, using our faith declarations and speaking, declaring, proclaiming every week. But we need to stand on this, get this in our spirit, continue to speak it, declare it, proclaim it, so that when the obstacle comes our way, we know what the armor does and what it's there for. So go right
Yes.
ahead.
Every day I put on the whole armor of God, the belt of truth to strengthen me, the breastplate of righteousness to guard my heart, and I stand on my feet alert and ready with the gospel of peace.
Yes, so speak that, declare that, proclaim it. I know it's long, but you can always rewind the video and so you can write it down. But speak it, declare it, proclaim it, and join us next week with another brand new Armor of God faith declaration. God bless.